Hi, I'm so glad you're here. Today's conversation is personal, and it could deeply change your nights. So here's what to do. Hit the like button now, subscribe to the channel, and make a promise to yourself to watch until the end. Your health is on the line. Tell me in the comments, how many times on average do you wake up at night to go to the bathroom? Once, twice, 3 times? Or have you lost count? You lie down exhausted. All you want is to sleep. But the middle of the night wakes you up. Again. Your bladder calls, your body gets up, your mind doesn't return to rest, and the next day it weighs on you. But what if I told you that you could sleep deeply again, without needing medication or surgery? With 5 simple habits tested by thousands of people, it's possible, because the problem isn't just in your bladder, it lies in small daily behaviors that you unknowingly repeat every night. If you value peaceful nights and want to wake up energized, give this video a like now and share it with someone who also needs better sleep. Comment below which of these habits you've already tried, or if, like many others, you didn't even know there was a solution. Have you ever heard, or maybe even said as that phrase, "Oh, waking up to pee at night is normal, just part of getting older"? But what if I told you that this seemingly harmless idea is actually preventing you from aging with more autonomy, clarity, and health? The truth is that waking up several times during the night isn't just annoying. It's a symptom, a silent cry for help from your body. Science calls this nocturia, a technical name for an everyday problem that many people normalize without realizing its deeper impact. Let's be honest, poor sleep doesn't just affect your mood. It disrupts hormones, weakens the immune system, and accelerates brain aging. You wake up groggy, slow, with that feeling of not having rested at all. And the worst part is, it builds up. Week after week, your vitality gets drained without you noticing. Studies show that nocturia is linked to a higher risk of cardiovascular diseases. People who wake up 2 or more times per night to urinate have up to a 30% higher risk of events like heart attacks or strokes. And the brain suffers too. Fragmented sleep affects the areas responsible for focus, memory, and decision-making. That frequent forgetfulness, sudden irritability, that feeling of always being on edge, all of it could start in the middle of the night. Here's the key point. In nearly 80% of cases, the cause of nocturia isn't medical, it's behavioral. In other words, it's not a weak bladder. It's not just age. It's not your destiny. It's small daily decisions. What you eat, what you drink, when you go to bed, how you prepare for the night. That combined disrupt your sleep. And if habits cause the problem, habits can fix it. That's the best part. You have more control than you think. You don't need to rely on pills or wait forever for appointments. The transformation starts with simple, consistent choices. From now on, I'll show you the 5 most effective habits to break this cycle. Small changes that bring real relief. And the first one will surprise you, because it's hidden in foods and drinks you might consider harmless. Habit 1. Cutting out invisible liquids before bedtime. You've probably heard the classic advice, avoid drinking water before bed, and maybe you followed it strictly. Stopped drinking that nighttime glass of water, avoided liquids after 8 p.m., but the bathroom trips didn't stop. Here's the thing, the problem isn't just water. It's the invisible liquids. You know that light soup for dinner? The chamomile tea that seems harmless? That slice of watermelon? Or that fresh juice? All of these contain large amounts of water, and your body absorbs it just the same. Let me tell you Margaret's story. A 72-year-old woman, active, sharp-minded, who was constantly frustrated by her interrupted nights. She thought she was doing everything right, eating light, drinking calming tea, avoiding soda and coffee, but still, she was waking up 4 to 5 times a night. It wasn't until she discovered the concept of a curfew for invisible liquids that everything changed. Margaret started viewing her dinner foods differently. She realized the vegetable soup she loved had nearly 400 milliliters of liquid, that her dessert, 3 slices of watermelon, was basically a disguised glass of water. That the chamomile tea, though calming, did the exact opposite for her bladder. She made a simple but radical change. She stopped consuming all kinds of liquids and water-rich foods at least 3 hours before going to bed, and the results were immediate. In the first week, her nightly bathroom trips dropped from 5 to 2, then to just 1. In less than a month, Margaret was sleeping full 6-hour blocks, something that hadn't happened in years. That's the power of noticing what usually goes unnoticed. Practical action. Starting today, try stopping all intake of liquids and water-rich foods during the 3 hours before bedtime. This includes fruits like watermelon, melon, oranges, pineapple, juices, teas, broths and soups, light foods that are actually high in water content, even popsicles or frozen desserts. You don't have to go thirsty, just shift your hydration to earlier in the day. This reduces the burden on your bladder when it's supposed to rest with you. Habit 2. Eat dinner early and avoid diuretic foods. Have you ever considered that the timing and type of food you eat at night might be sabotaging your sleep just as much as liquids? That's exactly what Robert, a 68-year-old man, discovered. He prided himself on eating healthy. At night he would have salads, cucumbers, drink green tea, thinking he was taking good care of his body. Yet he was still waking up 3 to 4 times every night. It turns out that many healthy foods have a diuretic effect, meaning they stimulate the kidneys to produce more urine, and if you consume them at night, you're basically programming your bladder to work when it should be resting. Cucumber, for instance, is over 95% water and naturally diuretic. Green tea, despite its antioxidants, increases urine production. Watermelon, more than 90% water, and also stimulates the kidneys. Robert never imagined that the problem was actually in his healthy choices. It wasn't until he adjusted 2 key points, the timing of dinner and the composition of his plate, that things began to change. He started eating dinner by 6:30 p.m., giving his body enough time to process the food before bedtime. Most importantly, he replaced diuretic foods with more neutral options that don't overwork the urinary system. Within a few weeks, his sleep pattern changed. He began sleeping 6 uninterrupted hours, and the feeling of waking up truly rested came back. This is one of the most counterintuitive and most effective changes. Practical action. Eat dinner early. Ideally, finish your meal at least 4 hours before bedtime. If you go to bed at 10 p.m., dinner should happen by 6 p.m. Avoid diuretic foods at night such as cucumber, watermelon, tomato, celery, asparagus, green tea, hibiscus tea, black tea, coffee, chocolate. Prefer foods that help the body relax and don't strain the kidneys, like brown rice, sweet potato, banana, eggs, cooked vegetables, grilled chicken, whole grains. Remember, the goal isn't to eliminate these foods from your life, but to redistribute them throughout the day. What works well at lunch can interfere with your sleep at dinner. Habit 3. Stop urinating just in case. Have you developed that bedtime ritual, going to the bathroom even without the urge, just in case? This common and seemingly logical habit might actually be teaching your body something very wrong. And that's where the problem lies. Dorothy, 74, had been doing this since she was 50. Before brushing her teeth, she'd use the bathroom. Then again, before turning off the lights. Even without a real urge, she would empty her bladder because she believed it would help her sleep through the night. But what happened was the opposite. Over time, her bladder adapted to holding smaller and smaller amounts. Her brain, trained to respond urgently to any signal, began waking her even for just a few milliliters. This is a classic example of negative conditioning. You teach your body to overreact to minor stimuli. It's like your system is always on alert, expecting you to go to the bathroom, even when you don't need to. The result? Fragmented sleep, nighttime anxiety, and a constant feeling of urgency. All of this without any actual physical necessity. When Dorothy realized this, she made a decision. She would only go to the bathroom before bed if she truly felt the need. In the first few days, anxiety crept in. She kept asking herself, what if I wake up in the middle of the night? But instead of giving in, she used simple techniques to retrain her mind and her bladder. She started practicing deep breathing, listening to calming music, and reading before bed. She created a new routine where the goal was no longer to get ready to pee, but to relax and trust her body. In just 2 weeks, the results showed, from 4 nighttime trips to only 1, and eventually some nights without interruptions at all. That's the power of behavior reprogramming. Practical action. Break the habit of going to the bathroom just in case. Only go if the urge is real and noticeable. Observe your nighttime routine. If you go to the bathroom out of anxiety or habit, replace that moment with another light and pleasant activity. Gentle reading, soft music, lavender aromatherapy, guided meditation. Reinforce this thought to yourself. Your body knows when it needs to go. Trust is part of healing. This habit requires patience and consistency, but it offers freedom. You stop living under the command of urgency and return to sleeping with more autonomy. Habit 4. Sleeping position and pillows. You may have never thought about it, but the way you lie down at night could literally be putting pressure on your bladder. Frank, 71, had always slept on his stomach. He said it felt more comfortable, that it made him feel safe. But despite sleeping well, he woke up 2 to 3 times a night to urinate. Worse still, he woke up with back pain and a stiff feeling in his hips. During a physical therapy session, he heard something that surprised him. Your sleeping position is putting pressure on your bladder and affecting your circulation. Sleeping on your stomach increases intra-abdominal pressure. That pressure is directly transferred to the bladder, which becomes compressed, especially in older adults, who often have less muscle tone and greater sensitivity. Even side sleepers can fall into the same trap if their alignment is off. Frank decided to try something new. He switched to sleeping on his left side, which promotes circulation and relieves pressure on the organs. He used a pillow between his knees to align his lower back and a medium-height pillow to keep his head level with his spine. The first few nights felt strange, but in less than a week, he noticed something amazing. He was waking up only once, and some nights he slept straight through until morning. On top of that, his aches were drastically reduced. His body didn't need more pills, it needed support and alignment. The position you sleep in directly influences how your internal organs function or rest. A poorly adjusted posture can increase bladder compression, affect breathing, and even raise cortisol levels, the stress hormone. Practical action. Sleep on your side, preferably your left side. This position promotes lymphatic drainage and reduces pressure on the bladder. Use a pillow between your knees. It keeps your hips aligned and prevents spinal rotation, which helps reduce muscular discomfort that can also disrupt sleep. Adjust your head pillow. It should keep your spine neutral without forcing your neck upward or downward. A medium height is usually ideal. Avoid sleeping on your stomach or flat on your back, especially if you already suffer from acid reflux, abdominal pressure, or lower back pain. Deep sleep is a state of recovery, and your body needs to be physically prepared for it. When posture and relaxation are aligned, you send your urinary system the message that it, too, can finally rest. Habit 5. Room temperature and clothing. It may seem like a small detail, but the temperature of your bedroom, and even the fabric of your pajama, could be directly interfering with the production of a hormone essential for deep sleep, vasopressin. Eleanor, 69, was always sensitive to the cold. She slept in flannel pajamas under a heavy comforter with the window shut. She believed that keeping the room warm helped her relax, but every night she would wake up at least 3 times to go to the bathroom and never made the connection. It wasn't until she attended a lecture on sleep hormones that she understood the impact. Vasopressin is an anti-diuretic hormone. It reduces urine production while we sleep, specifically to help maintain continuous rest. But here's the key. Its release depends on a cool environment and the body's thermal balance. When the room is too warm or the clothes trap heat against the skin, vasopressin production drops. The body interprets this heat as stress and activates compensatory mechanisms, including increased urine production. Eleanor made 2 simple changes. She swapped her heavy pajamas for light cotton clothes and started leaving the window slightly open, keeping the room between 64 and 68 degrees, 18-20 degrees. Within a few days, she noticed a real difference. She was sleeping through the night again, for the first time in years. That's the power of natural thermal regulation. Our bodies are highly sensitive to temperature, especially during sleep. Even a 2 to 3 degree variation can affect hormonal cycles and the depth of rest. Practical action. Adjust your bedroom temperature to somewhere between 64 degrees and 68 degrees, 18-20 degrees C. This range is ideal for encouraging the release of melatonin and vasopressin. Avoid synthetic or overly warm fabrics such as flannel, polyester, or heavy wool. Opt for natural, breathable materials like cotton, bamboo, linen. Keep the space ventilated. If possible, crack a window or use a fan with temperature control. The key is to keep air circulating. Pay attention to your bedding. Mattresses that retain heat or overly heavy blankets should also be evaluated. The goal is to keep the body warm, but without overheating the skin and thermal sensors. With a cooler environment and appropriate clothing, Your body enters an ideal physiological state for falling asleep and, more importantly, for staying asleep. You've made it this far. And that says a lot. It says you're willing to take care of yourself, that you understand poor sleep isn't your fate. It's a signal that your body is asking for help, and more importantly, that there are real ways to restore balance. Today you saw that you don't need magic formulas or expensive treatments to transform your nights. You need awareness, consistency, and small adjustments that together make a huge impact. Let's recap. You learned to identify the invisible liquids that sabotage your sleep and how to give your bladder the rest it needs. You discovered that light foods can have hidden diuretic effects and that the timing of dinner makes all the difference. You understood how the habit of peeing just in case conditions the bladder to function improperly and how to break that cycle. You saw how the position you sleep in might be compressing your organs without you realizing it, and that your body needs alignment. And finally, she realized that excessive heat from the room or clothing can block hormones that maintain deep sleep. These 5 habits are simple, but don't be fooled. They impact your physiology, behavior, and routine, the pillars of your quality of life. And even if you apply just 2 or 3 of them, you'll notice a difference. Because when sleep improves, everything improves. You wake up feeling lighter, your mind is clearer, patience returns, energy is renewed, you become yourself again. Now I want to know, which of these habits surprised you the most? Which one are you going to try today? Leave a comment below. Your experience might inspire someone going through exactly what you went through. And of course, if this video helped you, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who deserves better sleep. It could be a friend, a relative, a neighbor, someone who has also normalized suffering and thinks there's no way out. Because it's not too late, it's not irreversible, and it's not just part of aging. It's just your body asking for attention, and now you know how to respond. May your next nights be quieter, deeper, and more restorative. And may this video be the beginning of a new phase, one where you wake up energized and ready to live.